All right, let's go. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, appreciate you stopping by. If you've been here before, well, you know, me and Kim have several e-bikes and we love to travel with those e-bikes. And these two e-bikes are folding e-bikes, and we could fold them up and put them in the back of the truck. And we have done that before on travel. But sometimes when you get to a location where you're camping and you want to take these bikes and go somewhere else, and the back of my truck's full of stuff and I have to pull everything out of it to get the bikes out, well, it can be kind of a pain. So when the folks at Kraken reached out to us and wanted us to review one of their bike racks, it's a no-brainer. So we jumped all over it. So this is the Kraken CyberRack E2. It's primarily made out of steel and aluminum, has a few plastic and rubber parts to it, but you can tell it's made of high quality materials. When we were unboxing it, it's kind of heavy. It comes in at 79 pounds, but it's not unmanageable. I did put it onto the back of the truck by myself. It's a great feeling, sturdy bike rack. Another great feature about the CyberRack is that it comes with a ramp. Now this ramp has its own receiver and mounts right onto the rack, so you never have it flailing around somewhere or getting lost. It slides out of its receiver. You put it on the end of the ramp, you roll your bike on. When you're all done, you put it back in receiver, lock it with a clip, and you're good to go. Another awesome feature about this CyberRack is that it is foldable. It also works great. It will fold back down. You can put your tailgate down over top of it. Doesn't have any effect on that whatsoever. And just like that, it's folded up and you don't have to take it off the truck and you can head to the store. This CyberRack does require a 2-inch receiver. This is a 2500 HD, so it has a 2.5-inch receiver. So I had to get a sleeve that went in the receiver to accept the hitch. This bike rack holds up to 200 pounds, and I believe they break it out to, since it's an E2, it holds 2 bikes, 100 pounds per rack here. But if you're gonna do the heavier bike and the lighter bike, they do recommend you put the heavier bike to the front towards the truck. Just makes sense. One thing I'll say is, before you put your bikes on the bike rack and you're gonna move them anywhere, drive them down the interstate or back roads or wherever you're gonna go with them, make sure you take your batteries off and leave your batteries in the vehicle. It's a little less weight on here. Plus, you don't want the batteries on here bouncing around anyway. It's just best if you take the battery off. Keep it as a best practice. There's one thing I do appreciate about this bolt. This bolt, usually when you slide your hitch into the receiver, they give you this bolt that threads in and it pinches that receiver so tight that you see that flex right here? That goes away when you put this bolt in. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I just tighten that bolt up. Remember what I was talking about with the shaky rack? Doesn't move at all now. Beautiful. Something else I want to talk about too on this rack is that if these bars, let me fold it back down. So when you put your bike up here, these bars here go up and this slides on your bike to hold it in place, and we'll go through that in a minute. But when you're rolling down the road, if you stand this up and you have to come to a hard stop, this thing could swing and hit the truck. So what I do is I just move this down until it's tight, and then I tighten it back up like that. That way it can't fly up against the truck if you're moving down the road and you have to slam on brakes and it just won't hit the truck. So you remember how I was talking about this pin, the bolt going in the front hole, pin going in the second hole. So once this pin's in and you lock it in place, it still has a little bit of play up and down. You're gonna find a bolt in the box, and it's this one right here. It's got a little, I don't know if you can see that, it's got a little blue on it. I found out where it was in the instructions about to make it easy on you. It goes right here in the bottom of this little rack right here. Puts pressure on this bar right here. Now this rack has no play whatsoever. So when you're going down the road, everything stays nice and tight. There's no bouncing around, no wiggling back and forth side to side. All right guys, final thoughts. I've always been kind of skeptical about bike racks. Seeing them on the back of campers going down the road and they're shaking back and forth and bikes are bouncing up and down, until I got this bike rack. This bike rack is absolutely the definition of an e-bike rack. It's 100% just built out of great quality materials. It's heavy enough where it doesn't let the bikes bounce around going down the road, but not heavy enough where you can't put it on the back of the vehicle and do what you need to do. I can't say enough about this bike rack. We've had it for a couple weeks now. We've tested it like 4 or 5 times. It's just a great bike rack. It's a great price. I'm going to leave the links in the description to where you can get this bike rack on Amazon, on their website. If there's any discount codes, I'll leave them in the description as well.
What you guys need to do is just go buy this amazing bike rack. Just saying.
Guess that's all we got to say about that. See you next week.